this is Sia and welcome to another video. Today we're reading chapter 33 of Hermitcraft Mayhem, my Minecraft-inspired fanfiction, where I put Minecraft YouTubers into a Minecraft-inspired world and see what happens. In this case, it's Hermitcraft. Yeah, this is a spin-off, not related to anything that's going on related to Hermitcraft at all. Just not related to anything going on with Hermitcraft Season 11. So, don't worry about that. Or anything that the Hermits are doing right now. This is just my thing. I'm just having a little fun and seeing where that goes. I will warn you that this chapter is a little on the darker side. Not as dark as it could be, but it is on the darker side. So, if you are a little younger and you don't want that, you are free to skip. It's okay. But, yeah, you are free to skip. You're not going to miss out on anything. It's just torture. Gerald gets a little intense. And it's bad. But, yeah. It's okay. But, yeah. Let's get right into the video. There are captions if you want to follow along there, but you don't have to. It's just an option. Other than that, let's get right into it. Impulse woke was a start, as the door slammed open, followed by several heavy footsteps. The hermit looked up, making out 4 to 6 blurry figures entering the room. The men wore dark uniforms that covered their bodies, masking even their faces. The only sign of color were their blue stripes just below the shoulder. A blue and white clock embroidered above. Impulse blinked. Was he seeing this right? Had the soldiers received new uniforms? Where had they gotten them? More importantly, though, why were they here? Impulse sat up, his back sore from sleeping on such a hard surface. It wasn't much better than the floor. The hermit watched as the guards surrounded the clone machine and the control panel, unlocking components from underneath, revealing wheels attached to the bottom. What were they doing? That's none of your business, Gerald whispered, his voice echoing through him. As Impulse shuddered. It was obvious that something was happening. Why were the soldiers moving it? Impulse swung his legs from the bed, planting his feet on the cold cobblestone floor. Soldiers didn't seem to notice that he was there, unless they were ignoring him on purpose. Was it worth asking when he knew that he'd probably figure it out anyway? He shook his head, trying to shake off the thought. Was it coming from him or Gerald? Why couldn't he be sure? What are you doing? Impulse let the words so tumble out. One of the guards sneered in its direction. What does it look like we're doing, YouTuber? Impulse got to his feet, keeping his focus on the guard who spoke to him. What are you going to do with that? The guard shrugged. It's none of your business what orders were asked to fulfill. Where's Conover? Does he know about this? Another guard snorted, stepping away from the group, heading toward Impulse's cell. The other soldiers were slowly but surely pushing the machine toward the door. Impulse swallowed, recognizing the soldier. Harry Johnson? So you know my name? The man smiled. Where did you get that? Process of elimination. Impulse shrugged. Your cousin was in the chopper. You were on the ground. The man's smile warped into a sneer. So you assume my cousin is dead? I didn't say that, Impulse said blandly. Harry snorted. Kind of sounds like you are. He stopped right in front of the iron bars, Impulse wasn't about to get anywhere near this man. Not after what Harry did to Korean. Was Korean okay? The question dissipated as soon as they came, as Harry continued talking. You think you're such a hero, protecting your friends from what they deserve. You tried to kill Korean. No, I have my orders. I was only waiting until he passed out. Impulse crossed his arms. And you expect me to believe that? I don't care, to be honest. Harry shrugged, his eyes glaring at him accusingly. Conover will get what he wants in the end. Why Korean? Why torture Scar in his dreams? Why bring me here when you know people are looking for me? Harry smiled coldly. His companions were now in the hallway. Faint murmuring voices drowned out by the rolling of wheels on the hardwood floor. I don't have any idea. I only do as I'm told. Impulse nodded. So, how's your cousin doing? Harry narrowed his eyes. Why would you care? No one could have survived that explosion. He could have been a clone. Or hybrid, Impulse said. You did say I shouldn't assume that he's dead. Harry sighed. Fair enough, but my family details are none of your business. The man turned his back to the hermit, walking toward the door just when Gerald appeared in the doorway. Thank you, Harold, Gerald said with a nod. My name is not Harold. Gerald smirked as Harry shoved his way out of the door. His stormy gray eyes found Impulse. Seems like somebody is a bit salty that he wasn't invited to tonight's mission. Mission? Cold dread trickled down his back like a shower of icicles. You know exactly what I mean. You seriously can't be that surprised. Impulse swallowed as the man walked into the room. There was a calmness to the man's features. His eyes were the only part of him that showed any hint of emotion. Impulse stood his ground, even though it felt like the ground was crumbling underneath him. You don't know if it'll go the way you want. Your protectors are only human. They will make mistakes. Make a mistake sooner or later. Hopefully after they get me out of here. Impulse uncrossed his arms, trying to stand tall. Not that it made any difference. Gerald still towered over him. Yes, I'm calling it pull short. Gerald sneered. You really believe they will, don't you? Of course, Impulse said matter-of-factly. He gasped as a sharp pain ripped through his body, stumbling to his knees, resisting the urge to cry out. He wasn't going to give Gerald what he wanted. He wasn't going to give Gerald the satisfaction of causing him pain, watching him struggle in agony. Gerald smiled coldly, his headband glowing neon green. Impulse tried to get back to his feet, but instead stumbled to his hands and knees. I think we're ready. Ready for what? Impulse groaned. Why did everything feel so heavy all of a sudden? Like a blanket of despair and dread was smothering him under its weight. Gerald ignored him as two men came into the room. Excuse me, I'm about to cough. Impulse immediately recognized the two men, Robert Sharp and Kyle Pierce. They wore the new uniform, apart from the lack of a mask. Impulse's gaze shifted to the bed as his blood froze. No, Impulse whispered, unable to take his eyes off the bed. Korean was strapped down to the bed with the metal restraints on his wrists and ankles. The young hermit's face was pale, bandages stretching down his sword arm from a previous attack. A headband was strapped to his forehead, glowing bright blue. This couldn't be real, right? This had to be one of Gerald's tricks. What did you do to him? Nothing yet, Gerald mused. I wouldn't bother trying to reach him. I put him deep into his subconscious until we're ready. Let him go, Gerald, Impulse pleaded, grasping onto the bars of his cell. They were cold to the touch. Why would we miss such a... Excuse me. Why would we miss a chance like this? Kai at last, with amusement, crossing his arms as the third soldier stepped back out into the hallway. Whatever. Grian was now in the center of the room. Why did he look so small compared to the emptiness of the rest of the room? Surrounded by his enemies, unaware that something terrible was about to happen. I say he had it coming. It's long overdue. I agree, Gerald said calmly, taking his time to stroll over to where Grian was lying. A lump formed in Impulse's throat as he tried to mentally reach his friend. Nothing. There was absolutely nothing he could do to stop this. We should get this over with before we have a mess on our hands. Rob rubbed his palms together delightedly. I'm ready when you are. No! Impulse slammed his fists against the iron bars. He winced in pain, but he didn't care. I can't do this. I can't let you do this. I'm afraid you don't have a choice in the matter, Gerald said dryly as Grian groaned, his head turning from side to side as he began to stir. Grian! Tears burned in Impulse's eyes as he tried pushing his way through the bars, but no amount of strength was enough to even make a dent. Impulse felt his arms and legs grow heavy as he crumpled to the ground, groaning as his eyes grew heavy. Closed his eyes for a moment, reopening them to find himself looming over him. Impulse? Grian asked, confusion seeping through his voice. What happened? Are you okay? How did you get out of your cell? Where's Gerald? I'm sorry, Grian. This has to be done. Impulse's own voice echoed back at him. Impulse's eyes widened as he noticed the glint of metal in his hand. A dagger, an iron dagger glowing with a purplish hue. What do you mean? What's going on? Grian's frantic voice filled his mind as Impulse struggled harder against restraints. The dagger rose high above him. That's not me, Impulse insisted, trying to fight back against the image, but the restraints were too strong. Impulse screamed as the dagger hurtled toward him, squeezing his eyes shut, desperately hoping that this was just a dream. Nothing more than the sick desires of a murderer, and anything but the reality that this could truly be happening. Like I said, intense. Yeah, that's where the chapter ends. I'm sorry. I leave you on a cliffhanger for next week, where the next chapter will be moving on to... Well, I'm sure you guessed we will be moving on to chapter 34, to Blake's perspective, which is not too unusual. I only do a protector's perspective when it makes sense. And that makes sense. No. I like doing that. But, yeah. They don't always get a whole lot of views, but I don't care. I like having that. It's fun. But, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And, yeah, shorter video this time around, but that's okay. See you guys in the next one, whenever that might be. And only one cost this episode. That's an improvement. Bye.